Throughout human history, thousands of civilizations have risen from dust, forged empires, built cities, shaped cultures, and changed the course of humanity. But some of them, no matter how powerful or advanced, disappeared. Entire societies vanished as if swallowed by the earth. They left behind ruins, symbols, artifacts, but not explanations. Today, archaeologists dig deeper. Satellites scan lost jungles. Historians uncover forgotten texts. Yet the truth behind many lost civilizations remains a puzzle too big to solve. In this video, we explore 5 ancient civilizations that vanished without a trace. Some collapsed from unknown disasters, others abandoned great cities overnight, and some disappeared so completely that experts still argue whether they truly existed. From the deserts of Africa, to the icy Arctic, to the mysterious islands of the Pacific, these civilizations left behind shadows that challenge everything we think we know about human history. So sit back, relax, and let's travel into the echoes of forgotten worlds. Welcome to Golden Civilizations. The Nabateans, masters of stone, who vanished overnight. Hidden deep within the rose-red mountains of Jordan lies Petra, one of the greatest stone-carved cities in human history. Massive temples, carved tombs, sophisticated water engineering. A city so advanced that the ancient world called it the City of Giants. And at the center of this marvel were the Nabateans, a desert civilization of traders, engineers, and mysterious religious cults. Rise of the Nabateans. The Nabateans controlled the incense and spice routes. Frankincense, myrrh, silk, everything passed through their hands. They became rich, powerful, and bold. Instead of building on the plains, they carved their cities into mountains. The Nabateans were masterful survivalists. They were originally a nomadic tribe from Arabia who, rather than conquering empires, mastered the one resource no one else could control in the desert: water. Fact 1. The Water Whisperers. The true genius of Petra lies in its hidden hydraulic system. The Nabateans didn't just find water, they engineered its supply. They built a complex network of dams, cisterns, and ceramic pipes that harvested every drop of annual rainfall, channeling it into reservoirs. This system allowed a city of perhaps 20,000 to 30,000 people to flourish in an arid canyon. They could survive months-long sieges by their enemies, even the powerful Seleucids, because their water supply was entirely concealed and secure. Fact 2. The Sikh Paradox. The famous entrance to Petra, the Sikh, is a narrow canyon stretching over a kilometer. During flash floods, this Sikh became a raging river. The Nabateans turned this weakness into a strength by building massive diversion dams at the entrance to redirect floodwaters into reservoirs outside the city, preventing catastrophe and saving water simultaneously. This engineering marvel is still studied today. Their kingdom stretched across Arabia, Jordan, and Israel. They had their own kings, language, and advanced religious rites. Their religion, syncretistic and deeply tied to nature, focused on deities like Dushara, the mountain god, and Alat, the goddess of fertility. Their burial rites were unique. The elaborate tombs carved into the rock face were not just monuments, but spiritual vehicles meant to ensure the deceased's transition to the afterlife, indicating a deeply complex, organized spiritual life. Their sudden disappearance. But something strange happened. Around the 4th century AD, the Nabateans disappeared. The precise date and cause are shrouded in academic debate. What is known is that in the 4th century, the city effectively emptied out. No war recorded. Roman records, meticulous about their annexed territories, show no major military upheaval or last stand. No famine recorded. Their sophisticated food and water systems should have ensured resilience. No mass migration recorded. No sudden huge influx of Nabatean people appeared in neighboring provinces. No explanation anywhere. The last clear evidence of Nabatean cultural autonomy simply fades from the archaeological record. One day, they were powerful. The next century, their entire civilization was gone. Petra became ghostly silent, inhabited only by a few Byzantine monks and shepherds. Main theories experts argue: economic collapse, new maritime trade routes through the Red Sea, and the rise of other centers like Palmyra bypassed Petra. The city's primary source of wealth control over land-based spice tariffs dried up. But even with economic decline, civilizations usually shrink, not disappear. Why did the administrative elite and the entire population leave simultaneously? Assimilation into Rome. Rome annexed the Nabatean kingdom in 106 AD, renaming it Arabia Petraea. For 2 centuries, the Nabateans continued to exist under Roman rule, contributing soldiers, Nabatean cavalry were famous, and maintaining trade. But complete cultural extinction in a few decades after the 4th century evacuation? Very unlikely. The people disappeared long after the political annexation. A religious exodus. Some theories suggest the Nabatean priests, anticipating the growing dominance of Christianity or responding to spiritual visions, led the population on a mass, secret migration to preserve their ancient way of life. They might have traveled deep into the Arabian interior, merging back into their nomadic roots. The lack of evidence for this movement is why it remains fringe, but it addresses the instant cultural vanishing act. Water system failure, large seismic event. This is the most compelling non-human theory. Petra is located in a seismically active zone. A devastating earthquake in 363 AD destroyed many structures and likely damaged the delicate ceramic pipes and dams that regulated the water supply. If the system was critically compromised and simultaneous trade decline made repairs unaffordable, mass abandonment would logically follow. The people didn't vanish. They were forced to leave their unlivable city in a fragmented dispersal. Why, it's still a mystery. The Nabateans left almost no deciphered, self-chronicling historical records. Their language remains barely understood. While we can read their script, Aramaic-derived, the context of their inner workings, politics, and historical chronicles are largely missing. Their religion is still a puzzle. We know the names of their gods, but the complexities of their spiritual beliefs and prophecies which could have spurred an exodus are locked away. A civilization so advanced, leaving no final chapter, feels impossible. Yet here we are. Petra stands today as a silent monument, a carved stone riddle asking one question: where did the Nabateans go? The Shangxingdui culture. China's forgotten Bronze Age gods. In 1986, construction workers in Sichuan, China uncovered a massive pit filled with strange masks, huge eyes, sharp features, gold-coated heads, serpent-like figures. These artifacts were so unique that Chinese archaeologists knew immediately. This was not the traditional Chinese culture they knew. They had discovered the Shangxingdui civilization, meaning 3-star piles, a Bronze Age culture that existed at the same time as ancient Egypt, Babylon, and the Shang dynasty, c. 1200 BC. But what shocked experts wasn't just the age, it was the style and the ritual, a civilization not like any other. The traditional narrative of Chinese history places the Yellow River Valley, home of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, as the undisputed center of early civilization. Shangxingdui, located in the distant Sichuan Basin, proves that ancient China was a mosaic of powerful, parallel cultures. Fact 1. The alien look. The masks had exaggerated, bulging cylindrical eyes, long noses, and colossal earlobes, facial shapes unlike any contemporary Chinese artifact. Some of the largest bronze heads had thin gold foil applied over the faces, a technique not found in the Shang or Zhou cultures. The largest bronze statue found stands 2.62 meters, over 8.5 feet, tall, featuring disproportionately large hands, leading to theories of ritualistic or spiritual representation of giants or deities. Fact 2. The elephant mystery. The pits contained over 70 elephant tusks, some perfectly preserved. Elephants were not native to Sichuan in that era. They would have had to be imported or hunted far from the region, indicating immense wealth and complex, long-distance trade or hunting networks that are still poorly understood. Fact 3. Ritual annihilation. The artifacts were not casually discarded. They were deliberately and violently destroyed, broken, burned, and smashed, and then meticulously buried in two massive sacrificial pits. This suggests a highly ritualized termination of a sacred era, rather than simple abandonment after a battle. Their bronze smelting ability was far ahead of what was believed possible. Their massive complex castings, some weighing hundreds of kilograms, show a mastery of casting and alloy composition that rivals the peak of the Shang dynasty, which previously held the title of China's Bronze Age master. Even stranger, their ruins revealed no writing system, no king lists, and almost no signs of normal daily life. It looked more like a ritual civilization, one that focused heavily on spiritual ceremonies, sacrifices, and symbols. The objects found, masks, bells, trees, and altars, are almost exclusively ceremonial, leading archaeologists to believe the site was primarily a religious or political capital, rather than a permanent settlement for a large, diverse population. And just like the others on this list, they vanished. Instantly. The sudden disappearance. Around 1200 BC, Sanxingdui collapsed. The people abandoned the site completely. This time frame coincides with the end of the Shang dynasty in the north, but no direct correlation has been found. No war, no evidence of siege, battle damage, or mass graves. No fire, other than the ritual fires. The buildings themselves were not destroyed by an accidental blaze. No bodies, no significant burial sites found near the city center, suggesting the people left alive. No migration records. The people vanished from this area without leaving a written trail explaining where they went. 3 leading theories. A massive earthquake. Geologists believe a large seismic event around 1200 BC could have rerouted the Minjiang River, their primary water source and crucial trade artery. Without water, the city couldn't survive. This is supported by geological evidence of past activity in the basin, flooding and internal rivalry. Violent flooding may have forced survivors to flee. Furthermore, some archaeologists suggest the rise of a rival culture, the Jinsha culture, found a short distance away, may have challenged Sanxingdui's religious authority, leading to the ritual destruction of Sanxingdui's sacred objects and the peaceful establishment of a new ritual center at Jinsha. Spiritual migration. The deliberate destruction and burial of the bronzes suggests the people believed their gods had commanded them to abandon the site. Sanxingdui may have been solely a ceremonial axis mundi, center of the world. And once their religious mandate ended, the people shifted locations, perhaps into the mountains, merging with later indigenous groups. The mystery. Even after decades of study, Sanxingdui challenges every timeline of Chinese civilization. Where did they come from? Why did they vanish? Why were their rituals so massive and complex? The most powerful truth is that Sanxingdui represents a separate, powerful branch of ancient Asian civilization that peaked and then disappeared, its legacy surviving only in the strange, bug-eyed bronzes. The Olmecs, the mother. Culture of Mesoamerica. Before the Maya, before the Aztecs, before Teotihuacan, there were the Olmecs, Yasi, 1500 to 400 BC. The oldest known advanced civilization in the Americas, flourishing in the tropical lowlands of south-central Mexico. They created the first pyramids in the region, massive earth mounds, not stone temples. They built massive ceremonial cities like San Lorenzo and La Venta. They developed the first true writing systems and calendars in the New World. And they carved the famous colossal stone heads, some weighing over 20 tons, transported up to 150 kilometers from quarry to city. Their brilliance set the foundation for all later Mesoamerican cultures. But around 400 BC, they disappeared. Why the Olmecs were so advanced? The Olmecs are often credited with inventing the core concepts of Mesoamerican civilization. Fact 1. Colossal head transportation. The 17 known colossal heads are the signature of the Olmec elite. They were carved from basalt found in the Tuxtla Mountains, 6,150 kilometers from the centers of La Venta and San Lorenzo. The transportation of these 20-ton stones across jungles, swamps, and rivers, without the use of the wheel or draft animals, required a staggering degree of sophisticated social and political organization. It proves a centralized authority capable of commanding enormous, long-distance labor projects. Fact 2. Precursors to the calendar. Olmec artifacts contain early forms of the bar and dot numerical system and inscriptions that seem to track astronomical events. Many scholars believe the Olmecs were the first to develop the Mesoamerican long count calendar, the system later adopted by the Maya, which tracked thousands of years of time and was essential for ritual planning. Fact 3. The Jaguar Cult. Olmec religion focused heavily on a powerful were-jaguar motif, often depicted as a rain or fertility god. This obsession with the jaguar as a divine, powerful animal was passed directly to the Maya, Aztecs, and Zapotecs, cementing the Olmec status as the mother culture. Yet despite their complexity, they left. No clear records detailing their history or lineage. No king lists comparable to those of the Maya. No direct explanation for their end. No final inscriptions or monuments marking a collapse. It's as if the entire civilization simply melted back into the jungles and swamps. Collapse and mystery theories center around shifting ecological and political landscapes. Environmental disaster. The key city of La Venta was built near the coast. Volcanic eruptions and continuous changes in the course of the region's great rivers may have destroyed crops and trade routes, rendering the vast ceremonial centers unlivable and forcing the elite to abandon them. Internal conflict. As resource control became strained, power may have decentralized. Evidence suggests a shift from a few dominant massive centers, like La Venta, to numerous smaller settlements, possibly indicating the rise of local chiefdoms and the collapse of the central Olmec authority. Cultural absorption. This is the most popular theory. The Olmec people did not vanish, but their unique culture did. Later civilizations such as the Zapotecs and Mixtecs adopted and evolved the Olmec systems of writing, calendrics, and city planning, absorbing the remaining Olmec population into their societies. The Olmecs disappeared, but their ideas achieved immortality. The destruction of the colossal heads also adds intrigue. Many of the heads were deliberately defaced or buried, suggesting the collapse involved a ritualized overthrow of the elite. It was a political revolution disguised as a cultural cleanup. The Olmecs remain one of the most mysterious civilizations of the ancient Americas, demonstrating how foundational power can simply dissolve, leaving only monumental shadows behind. The Indus Valley Civilization. The Silent Giants. The Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization, c. 3300 to 1300 BC, was one of the greatest civilizations on Earth, rivaling Egypt and Mesopotamia in size, population, and sophistication. Its extent covered over 1.5 million square kilometers, larger than modern Western Europe. Cities like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa had advanced drainage systems. Every major house had a private bathroom and drainage system that connected to a sophisticated citywide sanitation network, a public health marvel unmatched until the Roman Empire. Grid-planned streets. The cities were laid out on a precise grid, oriented to the cardinal directions, indicating central planning. Complex water engineering. Mohenjo-Daro contained a Great Bath, a massive waterproof structure believed to be used for ritual bathing, demonstrating engineering expertise and religious centralization. Standardized bricks. Across the entire massive civilization, bricks were manufactured in a consistent ratio of 1:4, suggesting a centralized system of weights, measures, and construction standards. Large trade networks. Harappan seals have been found as far away as Mesopotamia, Sumer, indicating a thriving maritime and land-based trade economy, exporting cotton, beads, and timber. Yet, they left zero deciphered writing. Their script, a collection of roughly 400 signs found on seals and pottery, is still undeciphered. This silence is the central reason their collapse is a puzzle, and around 1900 BC, they vanished. The major urban centers were systematically abandoned. Why it's still unsolved, experts have debated for over a century. Climate change. The river died. The most widely accepted theory today is the shifting climate and the slow death of the Saraswati River, Ghaggar Hakra, a major artery. As monsoons moved eastward, the river systems necessary for irrigation and transport dried up, leading to a long, slow crisis that made maintaining large, high-density cities impossible. Floods and shifting monsoons. While the western regions dried out, other areas suffered from violent, repeated flooding due to changing river courses, possibly burying and destroying major sections of Mohenjo-Daro multiple times. The Aryan invasion theory, discredited. An older theory suggested that the Indus people were conquered and massacred by invading Indo-Aryan tribes. This is largely discredited, as the evidence for a widespread, sudden invasion is weak. The collapse was a slow cultural dissolution, not a sudden military overthrow. Migration into India. The people did not vanish, they migrated. As the great rivers dried up, the population dispersed eastward and southward into smaller, more sustainable villages in central and southern India, eventually mingling with emerging Indian cultures. Their sophisticated knowledge, particularly of water management and sanitation, may have been preserved in oral traditions. The Indus Valley civilization remains the quiet giant of ancient history, highly advanced yet strangely silent. They left behind a legacy of brilliant city planning, but because we cannot read their final words, their fate remains a profound mystery. The ancestral Puebloans, Anasazi, builders of the cliff dwellings. In the arid cliffs of the American Southwest, Four Corners region of the U.S., Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, ancient people known today as the ancestral Puebloans, c. AD 1 to 1300, carved entire homes, ceremonial centers, and cities into the mountains. Their peak was the construction of the magnificent Cliff Palace at Mesa Verde and the complexes of Chaco Canyon. Chaco Canyon contained massive ceremonial structures called great houses and an intricate network of ancient, perfectly straight roads stretching for hundreds of kilometers, roads whose purpose is still debated, as they don't seem to lead anywhere practical. Then, around the 13th century, AD 1250-1300, they left. Completely. The cliff dwellings were abandoned. Pottery was left behind. Kivas, underground spiritual chambers, became silent. No massacre, no sudden destruction. The only sign was the sudden collective absence. Why did they leave? The abandonment of the Four Corners region is a classic example of complex systems collapse. Mega drought. Tree ring data provides the strongest evidence. The region suffered from the Great Drought of 1276-1299 AD, one of the longest and most severe droughts in over 1,000 years. This environmental stress would have destroyed corn and bean crops, their primary food sources. Resource depletion. Growing populations in the 12th century, coupled with the need for wood to build large structures and for fuel, may have led to deforestation and land degradation, making the soil vulnerable to erosion when the rains failed. They literally consumed the limited resources that sustained them. Social or religious shifts. As the environment worsened, social cohesion broke down. Some believe spiritual leaders ordered a mass move, a spiritual pilgrimage searching for a promised land or better water. They may have felt they lost favor with their rain deities, and that their monumental ceremonial centers were no longer serving their purpose. Interregional conflict. Evidence of violence appears in scattered areas, marks on human bones suggesting cannibalism or intense violence. However, this conflict was likely the result of resource scarcity and migration, not the initial cause of the collapse. The remaining groups fought over dwindling water sources. The Puebloans did not disappear, they simply relocated. The survivors migrated south and east, forming the ancestors of modern-day Pueblo tribes, like the Hopi and Zuni. Their disappearance from the cliffs was an orderly, collective survival strategy. To this day, their sudden abandonment of the magnificent cliff dwellings remains one of North America's greatest mysteries. What these civilizations teach us across deserts, jungles, rivers, and mountains, these lost civilizations remind us of a simple truth. Human history is not a straight line. It is a collection of forgotten stories. These societies were intelligent, advanced, organized, creative, deeply connected to the world around them. And yet, they vanished. Not because they were weak, but because nature, politics, and time are forces bigger than any empire. The Nabateans were defeated by a changing river and a seismic fault. The Indus Valley civilization was undone by a shifting monsoon pattern. The ancestral Puebloans succumbed to a persistent drought. Every ruin, every artifact, every unfinished monument is a whisper from the past, reminding us nothing lasts forever. But every civilization leaves a mark. Which one shocked you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if you love videos about lost civilizations and ancient mysteries, make sure you hit subscribe and join the Golden Civilizations community.